This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. This is Python's Paradise, your film and music show, and this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, I have the wonderful, talented Peter Mark Richman on the show with me again today. Wonderful to have him back, and he's got quite the career, and he's got a new book out. Welcome, Peter Mark.
Welcome. I'm happy to be on your show again.
Well, we got some heavy snowfall. We just got done a big snowstorm here, but I bet you where you are, you got nice sunny weather, right?
It's been cold.
Oh, I bet you not as cold as here.
New York said 6 inches of snow.
Well, they can have it. We got more than that, so.
How many inches New Brunswick had?
We had somewhere in between, I don't remember, something like between 10 to 25 centimeters.
Oh, my.
Yeah, but that was the other day, so she's starting to simmer down now, so I'm just counting the days for spring.
Yes.
Yeah. But you have a new book out, and, before I talk about that, I gotta say, and I mentioned this when I spoke to you before, but man, 65 years to be married. Congratulations.
Oh, I have a wonderful wife and 5 children and 6 grandchildren.
Yes, I'm familiar with Kelly because I've talked to her on Facebook. That's how I connected with you before.
Yes.
Yeah. But you have a son that's also into music as well, right?
Oh, he was 12 years music director, conductor of the Knoxville Symphony, and conductor's son. Right now, he's in Bangor, Maine.
Okay, that's not far from where I am.
Yes.
Wow. So 5 children, and how many grandchildren did you say?
6.
Wow. Big family.
Yes.
Yes.
And they're all talented.
Well, the person I'm talking to passes that down.
Oh, yes. My wife was an actress. We met in Summerstock,
Okay.
and 65 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
66 years ago.
Wow. What would you say the secret is to a lasting marriage? Because you see so many go astray, especially in the industry. What's your advice to people about a lasting marriage?
God.
Well, God does play a part in that, yes.
Yes, a big part. And he's watches over us. Have you read my book?
Not yet. I've got your material in the mail that you sent me, and I got the material Harlan sent me. So, absolutely, it's definitely on my list. I just got back from Toronto from a convention, so your mail was waiting for me when I got back. So,
It's a good read. 93 photos of my career and 540 pages.
wow, big book, and the judging from what Harlan had sent to me, like, how long did it take for you to do this book?
7 years.
I don't have the title of it right in front of me. Could you tell us the name of your book?
I saw a molten white light. ...
Yes, you did. And you got to work with Leslie Nielsen. So
An biography of my artistic and spiritual journey.
absolutely. Yeah, I read the synopsis. Like, you was into the pharmacy business, and like you got quite a lot of talents even outside of acting. Like, you also apparently paint as well.
I'm a painter and artist and singer, and I'm a registered pharmacist in 2 states, Pennsylvania and New York. I graduated Philadelphia Pharmacy, and now it's called the University of Science.
I was wondering, what was the hardest element in writing this book?
It's flows.
Okay.
I have a photographic memory.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I'm an actor.
Wow.
And a writer and a painter and a pharmacist. Oh, my.
But you've done acting on all sorts of planes here, because you've not only acted in film, but you've also acted on stage.
Yes.
Which one do you prefer?
Oh, I confronted the stage acting as one of this craft. As I began on the stage.
Okay. So did you have a favorite play to do? Because you've done a lot.
I'm a playwright.
You're a playwright, but
Yes.
you've also acted on the stage as well. And I was just wondering, did you have a favorite play that you've performed in?
Uh, Four Faces.
Okay.
I've done many plays,
Mm-hmm.
and Broadway included.
Mm-hmm. And you're a
My first Broadway show was End as a Man.
okay. And you mentioned you was a playwright as well. What's that process like?
I it it comes naturally.
Yeah.
I talked the characters. Uh, Say I have a coffee.
Okay.
Uh, I engage
Okay.
female, and we had sex the night before, and I carry on a conversation uh, from the male point of view, and answer as a female.
There must be tremendous satisfaction of writing a play and then seeing it materialize right in front of you.
My first play was a short story, and I'm an actor studio product.
Okay.
I studied with Lee Strasberg.
I know you worked with Sophia Loren.
Oh, she was beautiful and sexy.
Yep.
And I worked with her on the Black Orchid.
Mm-hmm.
And she's was a Paramount picture, and first time I saw her, I was taken with her sexual presence. I saw her recently, and she hasn't changed.
No. Yes. And of course, of course, you worked with Gary Cooper and Friendly Persuasion. I mean, that had to be a major highlight for you.
Major.
Yes.
I was 9 weeks. I stayed employed for 4.5 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gary Cooper was a dear friend, and he was inquiring what went on at the actor studio.
Absolutely, yes. What other actors that have you worked with that were a major highlight besides Gary Cooper that stand out to you?
John Forsythe?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But I do know that you worked with Leslie Nielsen in The Naked Gun 2.5, and that must have been fun.
Oh, he was in New York friend.
You did Jason Takes Manhattan, the 8th Friday the 13th movie. What made you tackle that project? That's quite different from what you've done.
Money?
For females, of course, we mentioned Sophia Loren. Cloris Leachman, I mean, she's still active.
I did a Broadway show with her, and she's a dear friend. I fell in love with her, and she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw her pregnancy. We became good friends.
And it says here, Florence Henderson, of course, we know from the Brady Bunch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
delightful lady.
mm-hmm. Ann Baxter, of course, most familiar with All About Eve. She's listed here. You worked with her.
Yes.
And a couple of Alfred Hitchcock alumni here, Janet Leigh and Tippi Hedren.
Who did mention before Tippi Hedren?
Janet Leigh.
Oh, I have a prize piece of him on my website.
Yeah. Tippi Hedren, and another one who had worked with Alfred Hitchcock, of course, was Eva Marie Saint, and you worked with her as well.
I sure did. I did a play with her, and Summers Theater, and we traveled all over the circuit, and I can't remember what I did with her.
Well, also mentioned here too, you guest starred in a lot of series. Of course, Star Trek was one that comes to mind, and Twilight Zone, Mission Impossible, Gunsmoke, Murder, She Wrote, Hawaii Five-0. Is there any of these that stand out as favorites to you?
Twilight Zone.
What made that so special?
The author was fresh.
Another thing that was mentioned here too, and I found this amusing, it says how writers, producers, and directors seem to dream up the most agonizing and numerous ways for you to die on screen.
Oh, I've been shot, drowned, stabbed, and dumped on my head, hanged, hung.
Any that stand out in terms of the makeup and production, like where they made you up for a death scene? Is there anything that stands out to you that was memorable in terms of setting up the scene?
I was made up at Universal, and I can't remember the picture. The Dark Intruder.
Oh, the Dark Intruder. That okay.
Michael Westmore did my monster makeup. Universal feature.
You also, it says here that you have done over 20 one-man exhibitions with your art and your painting.
Oh, yes. I'm a painter and artist. I was a major painter, and I started out in high school. Incidentally, I was a football player.
Mm-hmm.
And I have knees to prove it.
Going back to the painting, what's your favorite thing to paint? Like, what inspires you?
Children.
Okay.
And I have a lot of them. Females with babies. I've painted my wife, Helen,
Mm-hmm.
with all of my children.
You often play a villain. Do you like playing villains?
There's I have an affinity for playing villains.
What are your memories of John Ritter from Three's Company?
Oh, a lovely young man and a good actor.
Your book, I'll get that in front of me here again. I Saw a Molten White Light. Where did your title of this book come from?
I was visiting a friend, and when I was 5 or 6 years old, my mother dragged me to a friend. I was sitting on the veranda.
Yes.
And I arch there one is on archway to my right.
Okay.
And suddenly I saw a molten white light, the enveloping the archway, and it went on about 2 minutes, and remember, I was 5 or 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I had an impression carried all my life, and nobody else saw it. And I did you say that?
Mm.
Nobody answered. I carried it on.
Carried it with you. Yep. You carried the memory with you. One last question I have for you is director William Wyler, who, of course, directed you and Gary Cooper in Friendly Persuasion. What were your memories of working with him?
He hired me.
Sums it up.
I was touring in a play.
Yep.
With Eva Marie Saint.
Yep.
And the Rainmaker.
Oh, the Rainmaker.
I had to go to New York, and I had knock on the door, and Ava Marie Saint better call your agent right away. William Wyler wants to see you.
Fantastic.
And I made an arrangement the next day. And I met him at 1:00. He was lovely to me, and don't take anything for before contacting me. Imagine that impression on me as a young actor.
Absolutely. Well, Peter, your book is called I Saw a Molten White Light. And I would imagine you can purchase that on Amazon, right?
Yes. I'm proud of my children. My son Orion did a movie, produced a movie. He's an actor. Kelly as an actress, and a singer, and Lucas, conductor, music director, Roger is still trying to find himself.
Well, I think most of us have been there. Yeah, he's not alone in that boat.
Yes. I have 6 grandchildren, and Jenny is an accomplished singer.
Mm-hmm.
She's 22. I love you, my wife, and children and grandchildren. I love them.
Well, you know what? I got to say, God bless you. Thank you so much, Peter Mark, for coming on here today and talking with me again. It's an honor. Anything else you want to promote before we sign off?
I've been in a spiritual group called Subud, Subud, for over 50 years.
Well, Peter Mark, I'm going to bid you a great day. And once again, I thank you for coming on here for a second time. I know it's not easy for you to come on and talk, but I appreciate you taking the effort for somebody like myself. And I totally admire your many talents, and you're multi-talented in a lot of areas. We celebrate you as a family man. We celebrate you as an actor. We celebrate you as a writer, a playwright, and an artist. So
Okay.
God bless you, Peter Mark Richman.
He has